Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian own, nothing control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. You're now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian own, nothing control everything. Doing an episode here today. This is episode 755. Talking about equity versus cash flow trust. Interesting topic. Just because a lot of people reach out to the vault, don't understand the difference between equity and cash flow. They get these things mixed up sometimes, not really concrete on the word equity. And so when we talk about equity, we want to talk about that truly for what it means, whether that's in trusteeship or whether it's in traditional business. Because so many come and reach out to the vault and they'll say, oh, I'm starting a business, but they don't understand that there's an equity capacity to the business, there's an equity capacity to the trust, that we would almost say, sometimes people would say, oh, how's these obligations going to get fulfilled? But that would be through an equity holding note or equity deposit, and or equity certificate. And so we can talk about that. Why? Because equity certificate doesn't signal that there's cash flow. It just signals possibly that there is a debt to be paid. It may signal that there is an obligation to be paid. There may state that there is a disbursement to be made upon cash flow coming in. And so these are the things that we can talk about when it comes to cash flow versus equity, because so many are caught up on cash flow, but in all actuality, the equity still precedes the cash flow. How so, Trust Christian? I thought cash flow came before the equity. Well, no. That's why they call it private equity. Where you put in equity, meaning your time, your energy. Your energy has equity. That's why they're able to insure your. That's why people are able to insure your body, because people understand what the equity is inside of a human life. So it's the same thing in a business and in a trust. It's the same exact thing. What is the equity? What is the energy that you put into the trust? What is the energy that you put into the business? What is the energy? Did you calculate that energy? Did you quantify that energy? How did you qualify that energy through some type of nominal value? Did you put as this is a nominal deposit and we haven't got a return on it yet? That's equity. Because you are supposed to get a return on equity, correct? That's supposed to be cash flow. The cash flow, to a degree, gives us the multiple of what we're supposed to get paid. Because when you go into the marketplace and we look at the marketplace, say, okay, well, what is the value of this cash flow? What is the value of this income? What is the value of this equity? We can go into the marketplace and get market comparables. So the market can let us know. And so we can even talk about this from the people that we deal with sometimes as sellers. First of all, the sellers may not be realistic in their asking price. So you, as an entrepreneur, you may not be realistic in your asking price. You may not be realistic in your price that you ask for in general, whether that's for your time, for your hourly rate, whether that's for your business hourly service, or whatever the service is. You may not be asking for the right amount. The marketplace dictates that. Some people say, oh yeah, Trust Christian, what does that mean? The marketplace, I gotta let the market dictate it. Some people would like to think that it doesn't work that way, but it does, because that's why they use that in housing, they use it in businesses, they use it in insurance, they use it across the board. It's comparables. So when we talk about equity versus the cash flow, we're just going to go to the market. We're going to go see, okay, the industry that we're in, what are the companies that have this equity on the books, means they have this asset base on the books. What are they selling for? Okay, what are the companies that are in my sector that are selling for this particular cash flow multiple? These are the things that we take into account when we talk about equity versus cash flow. Why? Because some companies, they actually are product-based companies, and some companies are service-based companies. You would think that companies have product, they will have more upfront equity. Why? Because they had isn't that the classic line people use? It takes money to make money. Well, somehow you had to have product to sell. That's equity. Are you accounting for the equity deposits that you have into the company every single month via your property? Are you doing that? Are you accounting for the property? Once you account for the property, you account for the property and you go forward from the perspective of, if I'm accounting for the property, then I have an asset on the books, or is it a liability? And then once again, you understand why people use accrual accounting versus cash method, because they understand double entry bookkeeping. They understand accounts receivable. They understand how to bill out properly. That's cash flow. Equity says we got to make it a point to hold assets at all times. But the assets are not always tangible. Sometimes they're intangible. Sometimes they could be a contract. A contract could be a form of an asset. A contract is supposed to give you cash flow. But guess what? The bank doesn't always look at that like that. So look at it like that. So we're gonna go ahead and not give financial advice, legal advice, but when people try to talk about what is considered an asset or what is considered a equity, equity is considered to partially be the contracts that you hold in the company. That's a value. Equity is value. So if you have equity, if you have value in the contracts which says, okay, well in 60 days or in 30 days you're going to get a payment. In 60 days you're going to get a payment. 90 days you're going to get a payment. That's the case. You see what you're talking about now. It's on paper. Equity, the cash flow, the accounts receivable. The money didn't come in yet, but guess what? You started doing service. You started to get ready to deliver the product. That's equity. Oh, what do I need to know the difference for? Well, both of them actually can get you financing. You can get other people's money from the equity. You can get other people's money from the cash flow. Now, people that have these product businesses can do it twice. Why? Because they're making money on they can get some type of inventory loan, and as well they can get some type of cash flow loan based off of the numbers of the company, based off the financial institution you're dealing with, depending on the product or service you're selling. So you have to reach out to financial institutions, find out, okay, if I have a company and this is what we do you guys right now give out loans for this? Do you give out inventory loans for this? How much cash flow do you need to see on the books? Some people try to hit you with the old flim flammy line, oh, the company needs to be in business for 3 years. That's not accurate. Why? Because some businesses, they're doing so well, they need the money in the first 30 days, need the money in the first 60 days. And there are banks that understand that. It's not, oh man, well, every bank told me 3 years worth of tax returns, all this other stuff. No. Once again, those contracts, those cash flows can look like a form of equity. When you are presenting it, you have to let them know that this is what we have as a stable base. This is consistent. Oh, you just opened up in 30 days. We're not giving you anything. Okay, great. You can still open up a what is that? A merchant account. You can open up a merchant bank account. You can open up a merchant credit card, and in turn, a merchant secure credit card, depending on the bank. There's many different options out here, and in turn, you build the business through that vehicle, through the merchant account. Well, they see, okay, this is cash flow. When you're in a merchant account, you're supposed to have a business banker. A business banker is going to come to you and let you know, okay, these are the options for the company. Now, granted, most people aren't separate from their company. So when we talk about the company, is the company in an equity position or is it just in a cash flow position? Meaning that it's cash flow to you and you're the equity because you're working in it. Or is it one of those things where it does have equity based off the cash flow? And you are part of the equity. So when you come in and you're sitting down with the bank's going to say, hey, well, you have cash flow. We can see that here, 3 months. Now, we're not going to say going to the bank after the first month, but why not? See, that's where people get things caught up. First of all, if you got to have a business bank account, you should have been in there on the second or third day. Like, look, we got if you made some money, if you ain't made no money, then you don't need to be in the bank yet. But if you open up the bank account and you get money coming through the business, then in turn, yes, you should go in and, hey, we need to meet a business banker. We need to let you know what our projections is. See, here we go. We're going to break it down for y'all. Here we go. This is a hard pill to swallow. Oh, Trust Christian, you need a business plan. I need a business plan. I need to develop some Rufus Doofus business plan. First of all, business plans don't fall on paper. So we're going to share with you the information that our mentors shared with us that the banker doesn't want to tell you that they know, that you are walking in there with your hat in your hand talking about, oh yeah, I need money. No. First of all, the bank gets paid to lend out money. Now, is your business plan a good business plan? Or is your idea a good idea? Can you sell a good idea? That's what it comes down to. It doesn't come down to, oh man, are they lending for my sector? You wouldn't even be in the bank if they weren't lending for your sector. You wouldn't be in a bank if you didn't know that they weren't going to give you an inventory loan, or that they do inventory loans if you have product, or if you knew they were going to do a cash flow loan or accounts receivable loan, or letters, or standby. What is that? What is that? You know what it is? A little account credit. Credit, line of credit. Excuse us. It's a line of credit based off of the cash flows of the company. Okay, so you get that now. You get that tidied up. Okay, you get it tidied up. And now we're talking about you going into the bank maybe a few days after, because you got a business. As soon as you open up, you have online sales. Next thing you know, you go to the bank. We have people that have these online accounts. Oh yeah, I got an online bank. They charging me for 12 to 15% on interest. Okay, if I ever need any money, the only difference is you actually have 15 to $20,000 going through your account every single month. Y'all want to go there? We talk to people like this. They have 15 to $20,000 going through their account. They got more than $10,000 going through the business account. It's $120,000. If they understood is that clear cash? Is that and that's another thing. We talked to an entrepreneur the other day. Okay, equity is what you keep, what the company keeps. The cash flow is just how much money comes in. That doesn't mean that it's expensed in. It doesn't share that the expenses are there. The equity is what the company keeps. What the bottom line. So it's going to look a little different when you go in the bank. You say, okay, this is the true income, and this is what we're pulling through, but we have to still pay expenses. There's a lot of expenses for the company. A lot of expenses. But how many people know what equity is in the company? How many people know how to make an equity certificate on their corporation? Oh, y'all want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. We're going to rap about it. We're going to talk about it today, since they want to sit here and talk about, oh, you got to start a corporation. Okay, so if you start a corporation, this is like the worst thing about it. How are you going to start a corporation and feel like you have no control over or power? Now, granted, it's a public entity. That's fair. So you start a corporation or LLC or whatever, and you have no power over it. But somehow you can bankrupt the entity. Meaning, not you bankrupted, but the entity can go bankrupt. Independent of you. That's the purpose of it, right? Right. So why would you not set the company up to where it's independent? Oh, I didn't know to do that. Right. So, just like you have a legal name, isn't the company a legal name? Yes. So the company is a legal title. Who has equitable title? You supposed to be holding that. You might be holding that through ownership certificates. Somebody else might be holding that through ownership certificates. But how do you show evidence that you're an equity holder in the company? How does anyone show they're an equity player in the company? How does someone show that they're a cash flow? The easy on the cash flow? Why? Because you say you own the cash flow. The owner of the cash flow traditionally is the company. That's how they report it in the public. Did you see that? In the public, they report the company, and then they say the owners are equity position. And when you go look at a public company, they'll say these are the people that have a what? A stock. A stock is a form of equity. It's an evidence of equity. Well, why can't your company do that on a smaller level? Oh, because we not public yet. We don't have a valuation on the equity. We don't have a valuation on the shares because you didn't do that. That doesn't mean you can't do that. It's just obviously a public company's going out now because they feel like they proved their concept, and there are companies that haven't proved their concept, whether y'all know it or not. That's why they get money from angels and VCs. They haven't done anything. They ain't generated no money, nothing. Now, whether y'all want to say they have a business plan, we wouldn't say they have a business plan, but they have an executive summary. They have something that states who's there and what they want to do. That's literally all it is. And that's a hard pill to swallow out here. No way. Billion-dollar companies aren't being started off of that. First of all, it's hard for people to believe. Why? Because we're in the age of technology. People feel like everything's complicated. Some of the best ideas are the most simplest ideas. Once again, why would you not do that at a small scale? Why does it have to be at a large scale? Well, most people just aren't sophisticated enough to do. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm spending all the time working on a company. How am I going to do that? Well, you can get independent advisors. See, when people get in business, it's how you know you ain't thinking properly. Because you're either thinking that you're the only businessman person in the business. I'm only going to do it by myself. Or you're going to build out a team. You're going to build out a team, and that's just the point. You're going to build out a team. You build out a team. There's no way around it. There's no other way that you think about it. You just build out a team. Okay, who do I need? Whether you come to the vault and get a consultation, or you understand. Okay, there's a team concept. I got to give away equity in my company. We talk to trustees about this. We talk to brothers and sisters about this. Well, first of all, brothers and sisters supposedly don't have no unity. Now, y'all don't want to hear that. But if that's not the case, then you should already be comfortable with the fact that you got to build out a team. And you might have to build out a team with your culture, or you'll build out a team with another culture, but you have no objections to it. It's not, oh man, why do I got to build with other cultures, Christian? Yeah, we get the arguments for it and we get the arguments against it. Trustees or people that reach out, oh man, Judge Christian, I got to build out a team. I got to give away equity. I'm not trying to give up none of my company. But yeah, you don't have anything going through the company right now. I don't want to give up anything in my company. Well, then we understand that you're not building out a team concept. When people talk about scaling, how you going to scale something and you ain't got a team? You don't have at least 3 to 5 people that you got on the team. That's scaling. That's at least the initials. It's not, oh man, Trust Christian, I'm taking forever to get my team. No, you have to put together a team. That is the first thing, because in an equity position, then you give away equity. You're the founder equity. You can give away equity in the company. You can get people to give you money so you can beef up the company and say, okay, we need some money in the company right now so we can build this company out. Who believes in me? See, people don't want to hear that word. Oh, Trust Christian, don't say it to me like that. What do you mean? I gotta have somebody believe in my dream. They gotta see the invisible dream. They gotta give me money based on my invisible dream. I gotta convince somebody of my invisible dream. They don't want to hear that though. But when you really realize that's what you gotta do, you go ahead, you lock in, you get a picture, and you say, you know what? Till death do us part. Now, a lot of people don't want to know. Some businesses will fail. Businesses fail. That's the reality. But maybe that wasn't. It is what it is. You get used to it. Because no one wants to hear that you got to fail in business. No one wants to hear that. All they want to hear is, oh yeah, I got an internet channel. I'm streaming. We're making tons of money. You don't have to do anything. You can sit back in the house and wear fluffy clothes and sit on the couch and do reviews on products. Yeah, right. We're not saying that you can't do that. We're talking about the ones that want to understand the difference between a company, a trust that has equity versus cash flow. We're not upset or disregarding people that make money that way. What we are saying is this is a mindset shift from cash flow ventures to actual equity based ventures, understanding that there's equity. Why do you guys want to buy real estate? Why have you been programmed to buy real estate? Oh man, I gotta buy real estate, man. I gotta go get into real estate, man. But you don't understand equity. You understand cash flow. That's fair. You understand cash flow. You don't understand equity. Okay. So, you find out what is the equity play. You start researching what is the equity. We talk to people all the time about this type of stuff. Private credit, public credit. Everybody want to talk about public credit. We sit in rooms with private credit. It's the same thing with equity. You can sit in the rooms with private equity. Do your research, private equity. Oh man, I heard about this stuff. I heard this is some sophisticated stuff. It's for the big boys, man, and all of that. Not necessarily. And whether y'all know it or not, and this is the hardest thing for people to grasp. There's more money than there is opportunities. Because you have to be the opportunity. See, there's a lot of old people, a lot of old money, and they want to put it to work on a young whippersnapper like you. Somebody that actually is going to go out and build a business. So when y'all want to sit here, or people want to sit here and say, oh man, who's going to bet on me? We already let you know. That's the question. When you say, oh, who's going to bet on me? We already know who's going to bet on you. The person that bets on your invisible idea. The idea that you could see in your mind, and you got to convey that idea to their mind so they can get it, so they can get the idea and invest in you through an equity position. That's the difference. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening to replay. It's just one of them episodes we know that a lot of people reach out and they don't understand the difference between equity and cash flow. And then you get into business, everybody wants to start a business, but they don't understand the equity aspect of it. They don't want to sell equity. They don't want to, you know, give away equity. And it's like, well, if you think about it, if you're going to bring in a business partner, you're going to be 50-50 equity in the first place. So if you're going to be 50-50 equity in the company, then why not find more sophisticated people that can't do what you do, that can do something that you can't do, have the experience that you don't have, so you can rely on them and actually have a team. And so people don't necessarily understand business is a team sport, but that is the case. Business is a team sport. It's a team sport. There's no way around it. So we appreciate everybody tuning in live, listen, replay. Always feel free to reach out. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. We got a bunch of trustees that wanted to know about this type of topic, partially because they got businesses and they understand what the difference between working on and working in the business is. And working on the business is the equity, working in the business is that cash flow. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know this. Trustees know this. And what do they say? Trustees understand this is a well of a mountain. But whether y'all know it or not, trustees, if you committed to doing this for the rest of your life, it's actually going to become easier. A lot of people don't know that, but it's going to become easier as a trustee because you get to manage it a lot easier. A lot of things become repetition. And so that's how that works. It's no, oh man, it's a lot of work. It's just a lot of work in the beginning, or work in the beginning for when you're putting in things, putting together things of that nature. That's all it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's all it is. So we appreciate everybody tuning in live, listen to replay. Scotty, appreciate you big time. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening live, listen to replay from. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. Once again, this is the Vault. Wanted to do this episode about equity and cash flow. If you're listening live or listening to replay, feel free to type into the chat any questions that you have. We'll stay on for a few extra minutes here. But we know this is one of those topics that a lot of people, when they're listening to it, they hear, okay, I started a company and I'm generating cash flow, but do you have any equity in the company? Some people will try to say that the company has debt debentures, or the company owes them money in the beginning because they put in a certain amount of money, they put a deposit on the books for the company, especially if you guys are funding the company as an employee. That's what people don't want to hear. You're an employee, you're funding the company. That's an equity position. But okay, are you going to get paid back? How are you going to be paid back? See, that's where things start changing, because if you start getting paid back personally, then we know it's yours. But if you start getting paid back in equity, equity is not cash flow. So now, do you have deposits on the books, or are you generating income? Are you generating equity, or are you generating income? That's the difference. Most people are going to choose to get the income because they don't understand the equity component of it. Especially like when you're an employee and you're feeding the company. When you're an employee feeding the company, oh man, what are we talking about here? That's like the best way to put equity into the company. People might not want to hear that. First of all, if you're funding the company, how's the company making money if you're funding it? That's not income. It's not doing a business activity. That's you, the equity owner, quote unquote, is putting money in the company. This is real easy. But how many people are doing that and then they're not getting the credit for the equity component of the company? Per the bank, per other financial institutions, per other financial relationships, they can see, okay, this is a deposit of equity in the company. Correct. It's, oh, how's the company being funded? Isn't that what they ask you? When it doesn't have any money in the beginning, how's the company being funded? Through an equity player. You. Do your job. Somebody put in Dallas Fort Worth from Mississippi. I got some projects. That's good to hear. Somebody typed into the chat that they don't mind sharing equity. Somebody will come to the vote. All right, we'll go ahead and give y'all this, because some people, they think it's like, oh, Trust Christian, you're being hard, man. You're being mean. First of all, just because they reach out to the vote and say, oh, Trust Christian, you told me about this equity stuff, so I want you to sit on my board. First of all, Trust Christian is a trustee. He is sitting on other boards. This isn't no, oh man, Trust Christian, you got to sit on my board. No, we don't got to do that. And at the same time, it's not, we just want to put this out there. Do we? Yes. Have we? Yes. For trustees, yes. So some trustees will reach out, oh man, Trust Christian, What should I do first? First of all, Trust Christian ain't even 50 and I ain't even 70 years old. So sure, we got business experience. We're trustees sitting on boards, charitable and private, but that's not the point. The point is people got to be comfortable with understanding. Trust Christian, he's built teams. So we've had A players say no. You got sometimes you're gonna have people that are big dogs say no. That doesn't stop you from going out and finding other big dogs. So what does that mean? The first piece of words of wisdom that Trust Christian would say to you guys is you want to find a chairman for the board. You want to find someone that has experience in the field that you're talking about and has done exactly what you want to do. See, no one wants to hear this. So, Trust Christian, I want to do something nobody's ever done before. Bullshit! You ain't doing nothing nobody's done before. If that's the case, you will create it without thinking about it. Because it's saying you. So we're not trying to hear that, oh man, I don't know anybody that's done it. You don't know anybody, that's fair. But to sit here and say that you can't find that person is not proper. And it also goes against your vision. Because your vision says if you got a team and you're building something massive, you're going to have people that end up helping you. So you got to visualize who those people are. But when you understand that, okay, I need someone that's already did it before, it kind of cuts out a lot of the thinking power. So you got to find someone that's already did it. The mentors share with us to go on professional websites, LinkedIn, if you have a professional network, through local trade associations, business clubs. We share that with our audience all the time. Oh man, you gotta go get a part of a golf club. Why do you think we recommend going and get a part of a golf club? Y'all think that we want you to play golf? We don't care if you play golf. You're going to the golf club because it's for networking. Just like young people want to play pickleball nowadays. They say it's money in pickleball. Well, okay, did you pick it up and go yet? Don't sit here and say, oh yeah, Trust Christian, I know there's the money, the young money's going to pickleball. But did you go yet? Are you consistently going to network? Not there for the pickleball, knowing like, yeah, this is just like the gym. I'm networking. Exactly. You're networking. Oh man. So is it going to be easy to find business people at a gym? Probably not. Not to say you can't. Everybody knows that. You can. It's the same thing with the athletic sports stuff. You can. What's golf? You can. Well, okay, how do you get around it? It's the professional websites. How do you do that if you're on minimal dollars? Oh, Trust Christian, I don't have the money to go to all of these places and do all of these things. Then you got to use the internet. So you use the internet and you start searching for, okay, I need a chairman, someone that has the experience. They have over 25 years of experience in this field. They have sold a company in this field before, so they know what it is to help me take my company from zero to hero, and they want equity. They understand equity. Why? Because they sold a company. They got an equity return. They got an equity multiple. They weren't just focused on cash flow, because if they was focused on cash flow, all they would do is still be working the company. They would still be building a business. So you understand that this individual automatically, no matter what you think or say, they automatically know what you're talking about when you say, hey, I'm gonna give you 10% equity in the company. I'm gonna give you, whatever, 5% equity in the company, whatever it is. Okay, so you're giving away. Some people say, how much equity should I give away? Well, a lot of y'all don't want to hear. These are things that you got to think for yourself. Now you can go do. Y'all don't want to hear. Supposedly Bezos and Zuckerberg, they all got less than 30% of the companies that they manage. Yeah, but they're billion-dollar firms. They didn't start out that way right away, so they didn't give away the baby right away. They didn't give away all of their company rates. So our mentors taught us to be stingy. We're not even gonna lie to y'all. The mentors taught us to be stingy, but you also are generous with the bonuses. So equity, stingy. Okay, equity. When we're talking about, once again, finding these people. Somebody said, how do you find reliable partners? First of all, this is a hard pill for people to swallow. Oh, Trust Christian, I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to be a billionaire. You ain't never hung out with a goddamn millionaire or billionaire a day of your life. But you want to sit here. Ain't nobody saying that you can't do it. What we're saying is you gotta associate with these people. It doesn't matter if you're gonna do what they're doing or not. It's a mindset. It's an energy. Ain't that what you want? Don't you want the $1 million energy? Don't you feel the $1 million energy in you? Exactly. Then you gotta get around people because they magnetize it to you better. They allow you to. They allow your universe to revolve around these things. They give you the indirect knowledge of how to do these things. So we're gonna get back to the specific chairman of the board. Oh, I gotta find a chairman of the board, Trust Christian. Right. This is all, it's a needle in a haystack. No, it ain't. It's not really. Like, you can Google people, or you can go on professional websites, and y'all can find these people. You can find them. And once you find them, you interview them. Now, here we go. Next question is, how do I interview an equity player? Okay, well, we're just gonna go ahead and tell y'all. A lot of people don't know this. The mentors told us you gotta have a mission statement. You gotta memorize it, or you gotta read it over to whatever they're doing. You gotta memorize your mission statement. You gotta let the person know this is our mission. It should be less than 2 sentences of this is what we're gonna do. Keep it very simple. See, people don't want to hear the business idea and the team and the strategy. All are very, very simple. The business idea should be very, very simple. You should be able to write this on a one-page napkin. No one wants to hear that though. Why? Because they got some complicated BS. And if they don't, then they don't understand what we're talking about. But if you have a very simple concept that you're looking to execute, you can write it on a napkin, then cool. You take that to that person, you say, this is what I'm looking to do. And I'm coming to you because you have the expertise. And I would like to offer you an equity position in my company. We're not making money right now, quote unquote, but we do have equity positions, which means when we start making money and when we sell it like you did, you're going to have a hard position in the company. It's not going to be because you're an employee and you're the CEO or you're the CFO, you're the CIO or CMO. It's not because of any of that. It's because you were here in the sweat equity phase when we didn't have any money coming in to even pay people then. See, this is the belief. Y'all want to know the shortcut? The shortcut is you go to you got to go to Napoleon Hill's book and pretty much read the beginning chapters. He talks about desire, he talks about faith, he talks about the mastermind principle. You say, "Oh, Christian, trust Christian, how do I build the confidence and belief in myself around my ideas?" See, I don't want to hear that because you need to be emotionally comfortable with the big idea. You got to be emotionally comfortable with it. Bottom line, no one wants to hear that though. "Oh man, trust Christian, I got big ideas." Yeah, but are you emotionally comfortable with it? Because when you're emotionally comfortable with it, you got those affirmations. When you have those moments, you start talking to yourself, you start telling yourself some incredible things about yourself, and then you mastermind. You have a team of people that y'all understand. We going after this two-line statement right here. Appreciate GA for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate GA for tuning in live, listening to replay. Somebody typed into the chat. Well, let us finish with a few questions. We appreciate the comments. Feel free to type into the chat. Because somebody asked about how to get a reliable partner, and that's another thing. Y'all gotta learn the language, because are you gonna call them a partner? Are you gonna call them an equity owner? Or what are you gonna call them? You gotta be clear in your head. Some people say, I don't know what to say. Well, if somebody's your partner, then they're just that. But if you say, hey, you're an equity partner, then they know, okay. And remember, somebody that's already sold a company, they understand the language. Bottom line, so they understand what you're talking about when you say equity. Where do I find these people at? Country clubs. Some of you guys don't come from reliable networks, so you're not gonna go through your network. You got to get out your network. You say, how do I do that? Maybe you start out once a week, go into a new network, start looking for. I think, what's that website called? Evite. Y'all can go in there and start networking lightly with business people. Some people are uncomfortable meeting new people. I'm uncomfortable meeting new people. That's why the internet is your little plug, and we mean it true too. It's your plug. Why? You don't have to leave the house. You can sit wherever you want, get on the computer, and search on professional websites like LinkedIn. It's the easiest place. You can sit there, type into the search. I need a person that has these companies, or people that have these type of companies. Okay, great. People that have sold these type of companies. You can Google those things. People don't. Do you want to do the hard work or the work in general? The homework ain't even hard work. The homework. Reliable partners. People think they got some. We ain't met too many people that got some like phantasmagory idea. Like, it's just not. Like, people just, they want to just make some money off of something, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, you definitely have to find the idea, and you have to be comfortable with finding someone that's more experienced than you. And granted, you don't work for them. You don't. But you are gonna even think about this. Successful people, if you come and say, "Oh yeah, I want you to be my mentor, but I want you to be the equity mentor," right? That's still a chairman. But you don't tell them that I need you to be my mentor. Why? Because they already know they're going to be your mentor as the chairman of the board. That's why they're sitting on the chairman. And you say, oh man, what's the roles, responsibility, duties? Somebody typed into the chat talking about using AI. Well, we can pivot into that conversation. You have to search first. What is the traditional role of a trustee or role of a chairman for that style of entity? What is the industry that the entity's in? Y'all, we gonna go ahead and drop it on y'all here. So some people say, "Oh man, Trust Christian, I gotta." Somebody said, "Speaking of the internet, do you think the future is possible where AI can operate a trustee position?" It's funny that people ask these type of questions. It's funny that people ask these type of questions. So we just sat in a room with some billionaires, and this is like one of them things that come up now. Like it's like the word Google, man. When you want to default to something, you just say AI. If you want to default to something, you just say Google it. So, and it's no promotion of Google. But when somebody says, oh, can AI be a trustee? We sat in a room. It doesn't matter if you're broke or if you're rich. AI does not have an imagination. Do you understand that? So it cannot do what you think it may ever do. But can it process information? Can it solve mathematical equations? First of all, how's it going to solve a problem it doesn't have the input to solve the problem for? See, people don't want to hear that because they don't even understand what the hell they're doing and what the hell they're working with. It's a damn computer processor. It's not the inputter, it's the processor. So because it's the processor, you have to put into the trustee what you want the trustee to process. You create the filters, you create the prompts, you create what will be considered a super trustee. How could you, of course you can create a trustee that manages an online business or online XYZ or online everything, of course. But once again, let's jump back to what business is built off of. First of all, businesses is built off of intuition. That's not a tangible word. That means you understand sentiment. How does a computer understand emotional sentiment? It cannot do that. It analyze? It will always come from a logical perspective. That is not life. Life has two hemispheres, logic and emotion. So when we talk about can there be a trustee for the position, people don't even want to hear that. Sure, they're going to get a trustee that's very logical. So when a family member's in a pickle and it's never dealt with this situation before, it's going to go off the previous data that it has, because that's all it has. It can't think sentimentally. It can't think emotionally. You may think that because you're a human, but you're trying to it's like God. You're trying to anthropomorphize the computer. Oh, the computer can do anything. It can take a poop because it did it on the screen. That doesn't mean it actually knows what a poop is. So once again, do we see, trustees operating in that position from AI positions? Uh, you're going to see more and more people utilizing the technology, and that's great. They're going to give solutions to problems. They're going to Can they be a full out trustee? Maybe not a full out trustee, but will they? People don't understand right now, like the most sophisticated of us that are trustees. I mean, most of us are utilizing the AI tools. Not only are we utilizing the AI tools, you don't understand that we're damn near trying to program our AI tools to be our second brain, to be our second mind. You guys don't want to hear that. You guys don't want to hear that. I'm talking about elite. I'm talking about like Fortune 500 billionaires. They're programming their AI bots right now to go through their previous speeches, go through their previous phone calls. You don't understand how much data you can put into this thing through your life experience or other people's life experience and actually come out with something that can be a comparable Jetsons type of assistant. So when you're right. Somebody says, well, can it get to a point where it responds like me? Yes, if you program it correctly. Can you get it to the point where it does a lot of things that you want it to do? Yes. And will it take, and literally it will be only and people in our sector, people love this stuff because it operates 24/7. See, people don't want to understand the power of it. They're concerned about jobs, just like weird stuff. It's like weird stuff, stuff that has nothing to do with the capabilities. And think about it. How many people fear the technology instead of embracing the technology? Think about how much fear mongering even billionaires put around it. Oh, this could be a deadly technology. This could be life changing technology. Right. But at the same time, we just shared with you they're programming their bots, regardless of them telling you that. They're programming the bots. Like, we're not sitting here saying to you, oh yeah, you ain't gonna have to program your bot. First of all, if you're not programming your bot right now, you're behind. Whether y'all want to know it or not, every year or every day you don't program your bot, you're already behind. You don't want to hear this because you're not in the rooms with the billionaires that's doing it, so you don't know that that's what's going on. Whether they telling you to do it or not, you're supposed to be programming your bot. You got to program your bot for your health. You got to program your bot for your wealth. Everybody tries to say, oh, go to the technology. Okay, so if you go to AI and it gives you a whole business plan because you didn't want to write it, then clearly it's something that can be helpful. So once you program the bot enough, then of course it can perform various tasks through dictation or writing into the system and can create a fairly, you know, comprehensive system that gives back quality feedback or gets things done. But how many people want to? Oh man, I don't want to be controlled, or I don't want this, or whatever it is. You know, it's the fear mongering around it, or you're in the rooms that we're in, and it's just, hey, you know, we're just going to go ahead and we're gonna, you know, program our bots, and while the rest of the population is, I mean, think about it. What are y'all want to type into the chat? What are y'all using Chat GPT or Claude or any of these platforms for right now? What y'all using it for? An email? What you using it for? A text message? Like, what are you really using it for? Are you utilizing it not to write out a trust contract, but are you utilizing it to write out a minute template? Do you have a minute template for property? Do you have a minute template for a transfer of property? Do you have a minute template for deposit of property on trust books? Any of that type of stuff. Do you have a minute that says, hey, this is where we're here to meet today? We got to template it out. Do you have those templates? You know, do you have something that has the executive summary? Do you have something that has a mission statement? Did you get the computer to try to give you a mission statement? Or, oh man, trust Christians, like, you can utilize the technology. So when someone asks the question, oh man, does the AI, you think it'll ever be a full trustee? It, once again, of course, it can be a full trustee. People are going to set up these operations independent of themselves. Yeah, that's true, but at the same time, it doesn't make emotional decisions. Some people say, "Oh, emotional is not right in logic in the business." It's like, all right, you'll find out in business how you have to make emotional decisions, and decision isn't always necessarily based in logic, but it does take an emotional consideration in order for you to make the decision. That's just the facts. But people don't want to hear this though. Oh man, I don't want to hear that. Okay, well, now we know why. You're not programming the bot. Like, there's things you can program the bot for, and there's things that you won't be able to program the bot for. So, appreciate GA. Always appreciate GA for tuning in live, listening to replay. Once again, we always appreciate GA for tuning in live, listening to replay. I may definitely. Definitely, if you have any more questions or comments, feel free to type them into the chat. But this is one of those episodes that, you know, we definitely wanted to, you know, share with people and let them know, like, this is where the market is, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to equity in a company and cash flow. And you know, sure, if you want a consultation and, you know, go through some training and make it a point to get your company. A lot of people talk, oh, credit worthy. It's like, first of all, is the company an independent company of yourself? One. And do you know the difference between an equity position in your company or a legal position in your company or just a cash flow position in your company? Somebody could be the legal owner and never do anything. Somebody could be an equity owner and never do anything. Really? Yes. So knowing the difference between that equity, sometimes, you know, when they talk about silent partners, oh, I'm gonna bring in a partner. Somebody said, oh, how do you find a reliable partner? They could have said, how do you find a reliable silent partner? You go to the money. You go to where the rooms and the money is. Oh man, I gotta go to this event. I gotta raise some money. People call it raising. We just want to get people out of that mindset of raising money because it seems very fearful. Like, oh, I gotta call this person and I gotta beg them for money, and that's not the right mindset. Now, we're not against you begging them for the money, because if they give you the money, it was worth it. But, ladies and gentlemen, when you think about an equity position, think about you giving away part of your dream and somebody seeing a value and they giving you money for it. And you could dictate how much money they gonna give you. Cause you tell them, like, I'm gonna give you this percentage for this much. Some people, we ain't telling them just bring somebody in the company and work for free. You could say, look, if you want to be a part of my company, this is where we going, but we're looking for equity partners, and we're looking for a minimum of $50,000 each equity partner, or $25,000, whatever the number is. If you're not familiar with this type of thought process, you can go to Shark Tank. There's a TV show called Shark Tank. You can go on Shark Tank, and in turn, Shark Tank will give you the ideas that you need, so you can start getting used to this language. It's a free TV show. Start learning. Oh, okay, I'm giving away equity. Start doing the equity calculations when they're sitting there doing the equity calculations. Okay, think about it. The whole show was built off of equity. The whole show. How much equity are you giving away? But y'all said people sitting out, y'all. People sitting there, we're watching it. Oh man, Trust Christian, man. They didn't get the deal. Yeah, because they had a horrible valuation on their company. They had an unrealistic valuation on their company. That doesn't mean they couldn't have got a lower number. That just means the valuation of their company was not right. Now y'all seen, when y'all go back and watch the episodes, they always ask people, do you have cash flow? Do you have cash flow? Right, but they're giving away equity. Do you hear the difference? This is how you program yourself into actually building a real business and not sitting here talking about you just doing some internet marketing. Okay, we're not against it, but once again, we know most people are going to end up pivoting anyways and doing other things. And once again, for that reason, when you say, okay, I want to like formalize this business, I want to make sure I'm building a real business here. I'm trusteeship. I ain't even doing no real business anymore, Trust Christian. I'm just going to do a trust. Okay, well, even if you're going to be in trust, are you building a cash flow trust, or are you building an equity-based trust? Are you going out and acquiring assets and depositing them on books, or are you actually going out to do a business purpose and generate income? Is the entity going out to generate income? Let's talk about it. Is it going out to generate income, or is it just, oh man, we're just going to hold on to family assets. I'm going to just take my family's house and put it in a trust. It's not going to generate no money for us, though. That's equity. Are y'all aware of that? Are y'all aware of that? Oh man, I got an equity-based trust. I have something. People say, oh, I got a land trust, whatever it is. Right, but is it equity, or is it generating cash flow? Man, ain't nobody talking about that like you could Trust Christian involved. We already know that. Ain't no question in our mind. We sit on the internet just like the rest of y'all do sometimes, and we already know they not talking about it like that, because what is the benefit? Who's gonna talk about it? A lawyer, an accountant, a business consultant? That's who's really talking about it. Trust Christian involved, business management consultant, making sure that you understand the business that you're in and putting together the system that it can actually outlive you. That's the trust system, right? Ain't that the businessman? Ain't that the trust? Oh man, I'm generational wealth. First of all, if you're building a system that you can't walk away from, it's not a system. If you talking about building generational wealth and you can't walk away from the system or the business right now and let it keep building generational wealth, you haven't built it yet. And if you want to build something like that, Trust Christian Vault, we're here to help you make sure that the structure is in place, because it has to have a structure that's going to be able to do that. It has to have something that's going to be able to do that. That's just bottom line. And there's definitely some key pillars and structures and things you want to put in place to make sure that that's the case. There's some things you want to put in place. And having that, first of all, no one's going to sit here and say, oh, Trust Christian involved. Did you start out with a chairman? First of all, we're going to go ahead and share this with y'all. This is the harsh reality. If you're engaging in private trust information, you're trying to involve yourself in a secret society. You're either going to learn this information from a private family, or you're going to learn this information from somebody in your family, because they private and they have the information. Once you have the information, then you got to go out and execute the information. The only difference is it's private, not public. So once you understand the difference, you operate accordingly. Public and private don't mix. So now when you're operating in the public, it's Trust Christian. Own nothing, control everything. Why are you in the public? Well, in the private, we operate off of net worth. How long can you live off the money? In the public, they live off cash flow. How much money can you make? In the private, we live off how much did you keep. In the public, they live off how much did you make. How much can you make? You hear the difference in thought process? So when you say, okay, in the private, focused on equity. In the public, you're focused on cash flow. Trustees, and or otherwise, if you're listening to the vault, want to get a consultation, you can feel free to reach out. Look into the description. Christian@trustchristian.com. Otherwise, we appreciate everybody that tuned in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listen to replay. This is the vault. Episode 755, Equity versus Cashflow Trust. And this is just one of those episodes. Once again, we know a lot of trustees, they have a lot of questions about what we're talking about right now. They just do. And they don't really understand the position. So we do our best to create the content for them so they can go back and listen to it in their free time. But always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listen to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you tune in live, listen to replay. If you have any episode requests, just feel free to reach out. Christian at trustchristian.com. We'll do an episode. Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace.